Cross on up to Brisbane now and catch up with the leader of Bob Katter's Australia Party, Bob Katter himself. No, he's not the leader anymore. He's the federal parliamentary leader, I suppose, but his son is the leader of the party nationally. Thanks for joining us, Bob. Tourism in particular has been heavy hit, hardest hit right at the outset by the coronavirus, and a big part of the government's stimulus package is looking to underpin tourism. Is that going to work? Is it going to help, cancelling national park fees and this sort of thing?
The tourism industry from overseas, earning the overseas dollars, overwhelmingly is North Queensland and the Gold Coast. Well, the Gold Coast, Tom Hanks has gone down on the Gold Coast. In North Queensland, is the other great centre for overseas tourism, and we are in desperate trouble, really seriously desperate trouble. And interestingly, we were down 30% before the coronavirus hit, so the implications for us are diabolical.
So is there anything in this stimulus package you think that's going to ease the pain there, or is the downturn in tourism, which is probably going to get worse, you've got to face that reality, is that just too hard to counter?
Well, we're hoping like hell, of course, that people are not going to go overseas. And the government for the last 20 or 30 years has been propping up the dollar. And you can't prop it up forever. And now it's collapsing, and that'll stop people from going overseas. So, we're hoping that there is a bend there. But the grey nomads, where they're receiving 5% interest on their money investments, now they're receiving nothing. And with this legal tender being cut out, they are people that could put cash away. Cash is going to be king, but they're not being allowed to by the banks and by the government. So the implications are very, very serious indeed. The government stimulus package is very good. I think, Rudd was criticised for putting it into the hands of people that just go out and throw it away. Well, throw it away means spend it.
Throw it away in the...
We won't spend anything at all.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying really in tourism...
And that's what stimulates the economy.
Yeah, you really want Australians now to get out and spend some money in the tourism industry that you're losing from a lack of overseas tourists. But, of course, people are being very careful about travelling, so we'll see how that plays out. Just on the travel bans, of course, Donald Trump has now banned arrivals in the US from Europe. Do you think Australia needs to go that far as well and follow suit?
For those of you that read history books, 22 million people died in the Spanish flu epidemic at the end of the First World War. A similar epidemic broke out in the Second World War, strangely and ironically enough. And one of the first people to be rescued by penicillin was Winston Churchill. And it was, of course, the Australian doctor that got penicillin into the body as an antibiotic. But, Chris, look, the thing that's not coming out here is, if you're going to say, well, boats can't come into Australia, and if a boat comes into Australia, all the boats are crewed by Asians these days. So a boat comes in, that crew is Asian, and you've got no way of knowing whether any of them are carrying the coronavirus. Now, if you say the boats can't
I don't think their race is a factor. It's just a matter of whether they've picked up the virus anywhere.
No, Chris, please listen. Let me have my go, please. If you say the boats can't come in, this country buys everything from overseas. We don't produce. We're a net importer of fruit and vegetables. We're a net importer of pork. We're a net importer of seafood. I mean, all of our white goods come from overseas. Almost all of our petrol comes from overseas. All of our motor cars and the motor car parts.
Yeah, but indeed, Donald Trump has said that trade's not being affected. He's just stopping people coming in from Europe. Now, we've got a ban on Italy now, a ban on China, right. Italy, South Korea, Iran. Do you think it needs to be extended to the whole of Europe?
I want to emphasise the fact that this country is totally dependent upon those boats coming in from overseas.
We are indeed.
If you say that people can't come in from overseas, well, just hold on a minute. Go down to the wharf in Sydney and see how many ships are docked there, or Brisbane or Melbourne, and see how many ships are docked there. Every one of those ships is manned by Asians. So, I mean, if you're going to be serious about saying people can't come in...
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us, Bob Katter. I appreciate your time. We do need to move on.